The city was alive that Friday evening, buzzing with the kind of energy only weekends could bring. Restaurants spilled warm light onto the sidewalks, where couples laughed, friends gathered, and strangers hurried past one another in the crisp night air. Among them sat Emma Hartfield, waiting at a candlelit table by the window of an upscale Italian restaurant. The soft glow of the candle danced across her flawless features, but her eyes, blue, clear, and searching, betrayed a nervousness she rarely allowed herself to feel. Emma was known to the world as untouchable. Billionaire, philanthropist, CEO of a global tech empire, her name appeared in headlines, her decisions moved markets, and her influence stretched far beyond the glittering skyline. But here, in this quiet corner of the restaurant, she wasn't the titan of industry. She was simply a woman who wanted to be seen not for her money, not for her empire, but for her heart. She checked her phone again. 8:07 p.m. He was late. Her date, a polished lawyer she'd met through friends, had promised to be there at 8 sharp. She had even dared to hope that tonight, just maybe, she'd find the kind of connection her wealth and power had only made harder to reach. 10 more minutes passed. No call. No text. She ordered sparkling water to fill the silence. Across the room, a young waiter whispered something to another, their eyes flicking toward her. Emma was used to it, the double takes, the stares, but tonight it cut differently. It wasn't admiration she felt. It was pity. By 8:30, the truth settled in like an unwelcome shadow. He wasn't coming. For all her success, for all the zeros in her bank account, she was just another woman abandoned at a dinner table, trying to keep her dignity intact while her heart ached quietly. She gathered her purse, ready to leave before anyone could notice the humiliation written across her evening. But just as she stood, a voice broke through the low hum of conversation. "Excuse me. Are you okay?" Emma turned. At the table nearest to hers sat a man in his mid-30s. His suit wasn't tailored, it was worn at the elbows, the color slightly faded. His tie was loosened, his shoes scuffed, but his eyes, warm, steady, and genuine, were locked on hers with concern that couldn't be faked. Beside him, a little girl with curly hair swung her legs, holding a crayon she'd been using to doodle on the back of a kid's menu. Emma swallowed. "I'm fine," she said, forcing a smile. But he didn't look convinced. "It's just, you've been waiting a while. My daughter and I noticed. If you want, you're welcome to sit with us. It's not much, we were just splitting a pizza, but nobody should have to sit alone like that." Emma blinked. Strangers rarely approached her, not like this. People either wanted something from her, or they kept their distance, intimidated by the idea of her. But this man didn't seem to recognize her, or if he did, he didn't care. He was just, kind. For a moment, pride told her to decline. But her heart, raw and aching, whispered otherwise. She nodded softly. "Thank you. I'd like that." She slid into the booth across from them. The little girl, about 7, grinned wide. "I'm Lily," she chirped. "Hi, Lily." "I'm Emma," she said gently. "And this is my dad," Lily added proudly, nudging the man's arm. "Daniel," he said with a modest smile. "It's nice to meet you." The pizza between them was half gone, but Daniel pushed the plate toward her without hesitation. "Help yourself. Pepperoni okay?" Emma laughed, the sound surprising even herself. "Pepperoni's perfect." And just like that, the walls she'd built began to crumble. Over the next hour, Emma learned more about Daniel than she had about any man in years. He worked 2 jobs, construction during the day, driving for a rideshare company at night, just to make ends meet for himself and Lily after her mother had walked out on them years ago. He never once complained. Instead, he spoke with pride about Lily's love of art, about how smart she was in school, about the bedtime stories they made up together. Emma listened, captivated. There was no pretense in him, no polished facade. His hands bore calluses from labor, his voice carried the weariness of long days, yet every word he spoke was woven with devotion and humility. At one point, Lily leaned across the table, whispering not so quietly, "You're really pretty. My dad doesn't smile this much usually." Daniel blushed, shaking his head. "Lily." Emma smiled, warmth filling her chest in a way money never had. When the check came, Daniel reached for it. Emma instinctively moved too, but he shook his head firmly. "You're our guest," he said. "I'll take care of it." She hesitated. She could have paid for the entire restaurant without blinking. But something about his quiet dignity, the way he wanted to offer what little he had, touched her deeply. She let him. Outside, the night had grown colder. Daniel lifted Lily into his arms as she yawned sleepily against his shoulder. Emma stood there, unsure how to put into words what the evening had meant to her. "Thank you," she said finally. Her voice trembled. "You didn't have to, but you did. And it mattered more than you know." Daniel smiled softly. "Sometimes people just need someone to sit with them. That's all." As he turned to go, Emma felt a pull in her chest stronger than any boardroom victory, stronger than any applause she had ever earned. She wasn't ready for the night to end. "Wait," she called. He turned, curious. Would you like to meet again? Maybe coffee? Or the park, with Lily?" For a moment, hesitation flickered in his eyes. He was a man used to disappointments, to promises that never held. But the sincerity in her voice broke through his doubt. He nodded. "Yeah. I'd like that." In the days that followed, Emma kept her identity hidden. With Daniel and Lily, she was just Emma. No security team, no headlines, no billionaire's shadow looming over her. They walked through parks, shared ice cream cones, laughed over Lily's jokes, and talked about dreams, theirs, not the world's. But the deeper Emma fell, the heavier her secret became. How would he react when he found out who she really was? Would he pull away, like so many before him? Would the gap between their worlds prove too wide to bridge? The answer came one evening, when a charity gala she couldn't skip finally forced her truth into the open. Cameras flashed as Emma Hartfield arrived in a gown that shimmered like starlight. Reporters called her name, their questions buzzing in the air. Daniel stood frozen at the edge of the crowd, holding Lily's hand. His face was a mixture of shock, hurt, and disbelief. "You're her," he whispered when she approached. Emma's heart ached. "Daniel, I wanted to tell you. But I was afraid. Afraid you'd only see this." She gestured to the flashing cameras, the glittering wealth. "I'm still me. The woman you shared pizza with. The woman Lily made laugh." For a long moment, he said nothing. Then Lily tugged his hand. "Daddy," she said simply, "she's still Emma." Daniel looked at his daughter, then back at Emma. Slowly, the hardness in his gaze softened. "I don't care about the money," he said quietly. I care about you." Tears filled her eyes. For once, she wasn't the billionaire everyone wanted a piece of. She was a woman, loved for her heart, not her empire. From that night on, their bond only deepened. Daniel's steadfastness reminded Emma of everything money could never buy: kindness, loyalty, the quiet strength of a man who stood by her when everyone else had vanished. And Emma, in turn, brought light and hope into the lives of a father and daughter who had weathered storms alone for too long. Together, they built something neither had expected, something pure, fragile, and real. Because sometimes, love doesn't arrive in polished packages or grand gestures. Sometimes it comes in the form of a weary father offering a slice of pizza to a stranger left behind. And sometimes, when you stand by someone in their loneliest moment, you unknowingly become the reason their heart learns to fall again.